Sharif's sweet symphony of flattery and Trump's smile widens as Pakistan's Prime Minister nominates Donald Trump again for the Nobel Peace Prize. Hello, you are watching The Global Eye with me, Mausami.
One of the greatest days in contemporary history, because peace has been achieved after untiring efforts led by President Trump, who is genuinely a man of peace, who has relentlessly and untiringly worked throughout these months, day in and day out, to make this world a place to live with peace and prosperity. I would say that Pakistan had nominated President Donald Trump for Nobel Peace Prize for his outstanding, extraordinary contributions to first stop war between India and Pakistan and then achieve ceasefire along with his very wonderful team. And today, again, I would like to nominate this great president for Nobel Peace Prize, because I genuinely feel that he is the most genuine and most wonderful candidate for Peace Prize, because he has brought not only peace in South Asia, saved millions of people, their lives. And today, here in Sharm el-Sheikh, achieving peace in Gaza is saving millions of lives in the Middle East. Mr. President, I would like to salute you for your exemplary leadership, visionary leadership. And I think that you are the man this world needed most at this point in time. World would always remember you as a man who did everything, went out of the way to stop 7 and today 8 wars. I would like to thank my very dear brother, Sheikh Tamim. He's el-Sheikh, who has really worked very hard along with others to achieve peace in this region. My very dear brother, President Tayyip.
A stage where politics meets performance. And today's episode comes straight from the grand stage of Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. At a summit meant to end the Gaza war, the world watched what might just be the most entertaining subplot of the evening. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif turning a peace conference into a personal talent show of flattery when given an opportunity by the President Donald Trump. There he was, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, standing tall, smiling nervously and perhaps wondering how best to catch the spotlight when given an opportunity. And then came the golden moment. US President Donald Trump walked in, addressed the public. What followed was not a diplomatic address. It was an audition for The Apprentice, Global Edition. Without missing a beat, Sharif praised President Trump as the savior of South Asia, declaring with remarkable enthusiasm that President Donald Trump, stopped the India-Pakistan war. Rightly given a chance by President Donald Trump amidst his speech. Now, before the historians faint, let's clarify, there was no officially acknowledged third-party mediation between India and Pakistan. Both nations had firmly stated that their disputes were strictly bilateral. In fact, the only thing that was stopped back then was logic. and perhaps a few diplomats from laughing out loud. But now, facts, as we know, can't compete with flattery, especially when cameras are rolling. It was the best scene to watch. Sharif nervous, but took the opportunity to speak and flatter Donald Trump. And that famous Trump grin, the Nobel Peace Prize phrase, had been spoken, and the man's face lit up brighter than the spotlight on the summit stage. Yes, President Donald Trump was so happy to hear this. His expression said it all. Someone finally gets it. If smiles could talk, Trump's would have said, "Go on, say it again, Shehbaz, louder this time." Sharif, evidently moved by his own speech, doubled down. He told the gathering and the cameras that he was once again nominating Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize, not for brokering peace in the Middle East, but perhaps for stopping the India-Pakistan war. And a great lot he had to say about President Donald Trump. Observers were stunned, partly because they didn't recall such a war and partly because they were busy counting how many times Sharif looked at Trump for approval. Yes, you must watch the video, it will be shown. Political analyst later said that moment felt less like a diplomatic summit and more like a school award ceremony where the student thanks the teacher for changing his life in hopes of getting extra marks. Of course, the irony is rich. The very countries Sharif mentioned, India and Pakistan, had at that time publicly dismissed foreign interference. But at the Gaza summit, facts took a backseat to theatrics. And when Shehbaz Sharif and President Donald Trump are present there, theatre has to be there. Sharif's speech seemed less about peace and more about pleasing the man of the hour. And the man of the hour was, of course,
peace process. Ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't want to take more of your time. Suffice it to say, had it not been for this gentleman, not only, who knows, India and Pakistan are both nuclear powers. Had he not intervened along with his wonderful team, during those 4 days, the war could have escalated to a level. Who would have lived to tell what happened? And similarly, here...
Perhaps the Pakistani leader sensed an opportunity after all in international politics. A compliment can travel faster than a peace deal. Reporters later joked that while Trump signed the Gaza peace document, Sharif seemed ready to sign a friendship treaty with Trump himself, possibly in gold ink. Experts say Shehbaz Sharif's Nobel moment had all the ingredients of viral diplomacy. A global audience, a famous name, a borrowed narrative, and a desperate need to trend. Some called it strategic flattery. Others called it political karaoke, where the lyrics are peace, but the tune is pure self-promotion. Meanwhile, social media had its fun. Memes of Trump with a golden Nobel medal flooded timelines captioned, "When you get nominated by someone who just made up the reason." Yes, finally, someone said it. As the summit ended, President Donald Trump looked visibly pleased, waving at the cameras with the kind of confidence that only comes when someone just mentioned your name and Nobel in the same sentence. We can see, and we could see, our people could see, the journalist could see how desperate Donald Trump is for his Nobel Peace Prize. Sharif too walked away smiling, mission accomplished. Whether the Gaza war truly ended or not, his flattery certainly did its job. bringing him 5 seconds of global spotlight and giving the world another reminder that in politics, praise is the cheapest form of diplomacy and often the loudest. And here, the term praise should be actually replaced by flattery. So there you have it, a Gaza peace summit that briefly turned into a comedy show of compliments. Peace was discussed, papers were signed, and somewhere between diplomacy and drama, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif made sure that President Donald Trump left with what he loves most, applause, and the idea of another Nobel. For more updates and insights, keep watching The Global Eye.